You opened the app for no reason. You were not looking for anything. You were just between tasks, or slightly bored, or waiting for the kettle. And then there it was. Someone you knew, or someone you follow, or someone the algorithm decided you needed to see right now. They were doing something, building something, launching something, or they just looked like a version of life that yours does not currently resemble. And for a few seconds, something shifted. Not jealousy exactly, something quieter. More like a verdict that you did not ask for. Like your own life just got measured and came back short. So you closed the app, you sat down, maybe you tried to work. But the work felt different now, smaller, less worth fighting for. And that is the real cost of comparison, not the bad feeling, the extracted momentum. Now, most advice about this tells you to stop looking. Delete the app, mute the accounts, curate your feed, 30-day detox. Just be grateful. I tried all of that. And here is what I noticed. The looking was never the actual problem. The problem was what I was doing with what I saw. So here is the mechanism. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. When you compare yourself to someone else, you are not actually comparing two lives. You are comparing your complete, unfiltered, behind-the-scenes reality to their single, finished, public moment. Think about what is on your side of that comparison. Your doubts right now. The version of you that slept badly last night. The goal you have been circling for 3 months without really starting. The gap between who you told yourself you would be by now and where you actually are. The private failure you have not told anyone about. The boring Tuesday that looked nothing like the life you planned. And on their side, one frame, their best angle, the moment they chose to show. Stripped of every doubt, every obstacle, every unglamorous hour that came before it. That is not a comparison. That is a hallucination you are using to judge yourself. You are taking the full weight of your real life and holding it against a highlight that was designed to look effortless. And then you are calling yourself behind because the highlight looks further ahead. The fight is rigged. You will always lose it. But that is not a reflection of your life. That is a reflection of how comparison works. So here is what the real cost looks like. It is not the jealousy. The cost is what happens after you close the app. You sit down and the work feels different, not impossible, just less urgent, less worth the effort. Like you are working in a category where someone has already won and you did not get the memo. That feeling is not the truth. It is noise, and it is expensive noise. Because the energy you spent losing that rigged fight was real energy. You could have used it. You could have put it toward a project, a first draft, or 10 honest minutes on the thing you keep putting off. Instead, you spent it measuring your private reality against someone else's public performance and coming out behind in a race that was never designed to be fair. That is the part I want you to hold. Not the envy, not the scroll, the extraction. Every time you run that comparison and lose, something leaves. Something that your own work needed. Now, comparison is not always wrong. It shows you what you want. It shows you what is possible. Sometimes it lights a fire. That is real. But comparison becomes a trap the moment you treat it as a verdict. The moment you say, they are there, I am here, therefore I am behind, therefore I am less. Therefore, starting today matters less than it did 5 minutes ago. That is not information. That is noise dressed up as information. Because what their life tells you is not what your life means. What someone else built tells you that building is possible. It does not tell you anything about your own timeline, your own starting point, your own specific set of things you are trying to solve. So understand this. You are not behind their life. You are in the middle of yours. And the middle of your story has not been filtered for public display yet. So here is what I do now when I feel it hit. I do not try to suppress it. I do not pretend it did not happen. I name it. I say to myself, I just compared my unfiltered inside to their filtered outside. That comparison is not a verdict. It is not information about where I stand. It is a bad data point that I am choosing not to use. And then I ask myself one question. What would I actually do today if I stopped looking sideways? Not what should I do to catch up to them? Not what do I need to achieve to stop feeling small? Just, if that comparison had never happened, what would today's honest work look like? And then I do that. Not because it is easy, because the alternative is to keep spending real energy on a fight I was never going to win. The race has one runner. That is not a motivational line. That is the actual structural truth of the situation. The person you are looking at is not in your race. They started from a different place, with different context, on a different timeline, working on a different problem than you are. So the comparison is not just unfair, it is literally not applicable. When you look sideways and feel smaller, you are not getting accurate information about how you are doing. You are getting a feeling based on a fiction you constructed from someone else's best frame. And you are letting that fiction run your day. So notice the comparison when it hits. You will feel it in the chest before the brain catches up. Name what is actually being compared. Your full, messy inside against their polished outside. Then ask the honest question. What would today's work look like if I stopped looking sideways? And do that, not later. Not when you feel better about it, now. Because the energy comparison stole from you is still recoverable. You have not lost the day. You have lost 5 minutes, or 20, or an hour, but the work is still there. Your lane is still there. The thing you actually want to build is still exactly as possible as it was before you opened that app. Remember, the noise is not the app. The noise is what you decided the comparison meant. Cut the noise. Your race has one runner. Get back in yours.